Hi, my name is Chris Wells. I'm the training captain for the South Metro Fire Authority in Centennial, Colorado. I'm currently in charge of our department's active threat training and preparedness program. It's my pleasure to present you with the following grant proposal video that has been made on behalf of 14 first responder agencies serving the southern metropolitan region of Denver, Colorado. A little bit about our department. The South Metro Fire Rescue Authority is a career fire department with over 720 members. We currently cover 285 square miles of the South Metro area in Denver, Colorado. We are an all hazards fire department, and we also have an EMS transport division with a fleet of 18 paramedic staffed medic units. We are Class 1. We have a Class 1 fire rating with ISO, and we're also accredited through the CFAI. We are regarded as one of the leading fire departments in the nation regarding our responses in training and preparedness for active threat incidents. And this has been stated by EMS One and Fire Rescue One magazine. So the need for our training. As of January 1, 2019, we now have 13 different law enforcement agencies working inside our jurisdiction boundaries. In 2018, we developed a single active threat response SOP for all 14 agencies that was then adopted by each individual department. We recognize the need to provide continuous, jointly participated, high-fidelity training regarding our newly constructed response policy as per the recommendation of NFPA 3000, which is the standard for preparedness and training for active threat responses for the fire service. In November of last year, my department hosted an 8-day, 16-session live exercise training for all 14 response agencies that signed off on our jointly created policy for active threat response. It cost us $65,000 to put on this training. During each training session, we provided a 1-hour classroom training session prior to the live exercise that walked each individual participant through the response policy in a professionally made video that was created that depicts a simulated active threat incident and how we would respond. After the classroom video-based training, we simulated an actual active threat incident at several area local churches that mirrored what the participants had just watched in the video. The simulated victims that we had were treated at the scene. We had 14 of them on each training session. And they were later transported to area trauma centers. There, the simulated victims that were wearing cut suits were taken to surgery, and we actually had actual surgeries performed by surgeons so that they could train on these types of injuries as well. The trainings were an enormous success and recently proven to be highly effective in our training for the personnel that responded to a real-life incident involving a STEM school out in our district in Highlands Range. 18 patients were successfully transported off the scene in under 25 minutes due to a combined effort of those first responders who had attended the training sessions back in November. All 8 victims lived, due in large part to the training of the first responders working at the scene. We'd like to duplicate the training that we did back in 2018 again in the year 2020. How is this funding going to benefit our department? As effective as and important as this training was, we will be unable to duplicate the training in 2020 due to a limited amount of funding available within our annual active threat and preparedness budget. Unfortunately, we must forego the scheduled training in 2020 and instead use our funding to replace our cache of ballistic vests and helmets that are due to expire in the year 2020. We purchased those vests 10 years ago, and according to that grant, we now have to replace those vests. The financial need. We have reached an agreement with our 13 law enforcement partners to divide the costs of a similar training to take place in late 2020. We agreed to evenly split the cost 14 ways. However, due to the varying size of each organization, we were only able to agree on producing $30,000 of the $65,000 needed. We are asking for a grant of $35,000 to cover the remaining costs of the training. If we can secure the funding for the 2020 training, we at South Metro will again host and pay for the training in 2021. The justification for this grant. We at South Metro Fire Rescue Authority, along with our law enforcement partners serving the South metropolitan portions of Denver, have demonstrated the value of conducting high-fidelity live exercise training as being a key component to training members of the first responder community to save lives during an actual active threat incident. We will be unable to conduct this highly valuable training next year due to a lack of funding. If awarded the grant, we will complete a comprehensive lesson plan and post-training analysis that we will then share with the nation's first responders. The $35,000 grant will in effect help to train the national law and fire department communities in the valuable lessons learned not only at this training, but the many actual incidents that our area has unfortunately had the misfortune of responding to over the last 2 decades. I appreciate your time and consideration in this grant. Thank you very much.